There's a specific kind of dread that settles over a fan base when the word worse gets attached to a goalie injury. Not day-to-day. Not precautionary. Worse. That single word from Craig Berube sent a chill through Leafs Nation that no amount of November cold could match. Because when your starting netminder goes down with something more serious than initially believed, and he was already struggling to find his game before the injury, you're not just dealing with a roster problem, you're staring down an identity crisis. Anthony Stolarz arrived in Toronto carrying weight. The weight of expectation. The weight of last season's elite numbers. The weight of being the answer to a question this franchise has been asking for decades. Can we trust our goaltending when it matters most? And for the first chunk of this season, the answer felt uncomfortably familiar. A .884 save percentage, a 6.51 record that spoke more to the team's offensive firepower than any confidence in the crease. The big save, that momentum-shifting, game-stealing stop Toronto has craved for years, just wasn't there. Then came Boston. November 5th, a shot to the upper body in the first period, and Stolarz was done for the night. At first, it seemed manageable, minor, the kind of thing that keeps a guy out a game or two, maybe 3 if the team wants to be cautious. But as the days turned into weeks and Stolarz remained off the ice, the whispers grew louder. And when Berube finally addressed it publicly, he didn't sugarcoat it. Worse than we thought. No timeline, no clarity, no reassuring he's close to ease the anxiety. Just the brutal honesty that this situation is more complicated than anyone anticipated. Stolarz hasn't skated since November 11th. There's been no setback, according to the coaching staff, but there's also been no progress visible enough to give anyone confidence about when or in what condition he'll return. And that's where the real fear creeps in. Because this isn't just about missing games. It's about a goalie who is already searching for his rhythm, now facing an extended absence that could derail whatever confidence he had left. It's about a team that desperately needs stability in net, watching their supposed solution turn into another question mark. It's about Leafs Nation, battle-scarred from years of goaltending drama, feeling that all-too-familiar tightness in their chests as they wonder. Here we go again. The emotional toll on a fan base that's seen this movie before. Let's be honest about what this feels like for the people who live and breathe this team. Toronto fans don't just watch hockey, they endure it. Every season brings a new chapter in the ongoing saga of, will this be the year? And every season, it seems, goaltending finds a way to become the main character in a story nobody asked for. Stolarz was supposed to be different. He came in with credibility, with numbers that suggested he could handle the pressure of playing in the most scrutinized market in hockey. But early struggles combined with injury have created a narrative that feels painfully familiar. A goalie arrives with promise, stumbles out of the gate, gets hurt, and suddenly the entire season feels like it's teetering on the edge of chaos. The fan reaction has been predictable because it's rooted in experience. Frustration, anxiety, that nagging sense of déjà vu. Social media exploded with the usual mix of dark humor and genuine concern. Of course this happens to us. Can we ever just have normal goaltending? I'm not even surprised anymore. It's the sound of a fan base that's been conditioned to expect the worst, even when they're desperately hoping for the best. And beneath all that frustration is something deeper. Exhaustion. Exhaustion from caring so much about a team that keeps finding new ways to test that devotion. Exhaustion from watching other franchises solve their goaltending with what seems like ease while Toronto turns it into an annual drama. Exhaustion from the cycle of hope and disappointment that defines what it means to be a Leafs fan. Joseph Woll, the unexpected lifeline, but here's where the story takes a turn. Just when it felt like the walls were closing in, Joseph Woll stepped back into the spotlight and reminded everyone why this fan base refuses to give up hope. 3 straight starts, a .934 save percentage in his first 2 games back. And most importantly, that intangible quality that can't be measured in stats, presence, Woll returned with focus, with energy, with the kind of quiet confidence that makes everyone around him play a little bit better. His "I'm ready, let's go" mentality wasn't just talk, it showed up in every save, every rebound control, every moment where he looked like he belonged. For a team that had been scrambling to find stability, Woll's return felt like oxygen. Suddenly, there was a goalie in the crease who looked comfortable, who looked like he wanted the puck coming his way, who gave the defense permission to play their game without constantly worrying about what was happening behind them. And for Leafs Nation, it was a reminder of why they keep showing up. Because in the middle of all the uncertainty and frustration, there are these moments, these flashes of what this team can be when things click. Woll didn't just stop pucks, he stopped the spiral. He gave the fan base something to believe in again, even if just for a few games. The bigger picture, what this means for Toronto's season zoom out, and the implications become clear. This isn't just about one injured goalie or one hot streak from another. It's about the fundamental question that has haunted this franchise for years. Can the Toronto Maple Leafs sustain success without goaltending becoming a liability? Every contender needs stability in net. Not perfection, stability. The confidence that on most nights, your goalie will give you a chance to win. That when the defense breaks down, there's someone back there who can bail them out. That in the biggest moments, you won't be let down by the last line of defense. Toronto has spent years searching for that. They've cycled through goalies like other teams cycle through fourth-line wingers. They've tried veterans, prospects, reclamation projects, and everything in between. And every time, it feels like they get close before something goes wrong. Stolarz was supposed to be part of the solution. A proven NHL goalie who could share the load, provide quality starts, and give the team options. Instead, he's become another chapter in the ongoing saga. And while Woll has stepped up admirably, relying on one goalie, especially one with his own injury history, is a high-wire act that makes everyone nervous. The defensive structure hasn't been good enough to mask goaltending inconsistencies. The team's identity has shifted toward offense because they've had to outscore their problems. And now, with Stolarz's status uncertain and Woll carrying the full weight, every game feels like it carries extra stakes. Living between anxiety and hope. This is what defines being a Leafs fan. It's not blind optimism or bitter cynicism. It's existing in that uncomfortable space between the two. It's watching Woll make a spectacular save and feeling your heart soar, then remembering Stolarz's uncertain timeline and feeling it sink again. It's believing this team can go on a run, while simultaneously bracing for the next piece of bad news. It's exhausting, it's emotional, and it's why this fan base is unlike any other. Because Leafs Nation doesn't walk away. They don't tune out when things get hard or abandon ship when the season hits turbulence. They show up night after night, carrying the weight of decades of disappointment and the stubborn belief that this time might be different. They live every injury update like it's breaking news. They dissect every save percentage like it holds the key to the season. They debate goaltending decisions with the intensity of people whose happiness is genuinely tied to what happens on the ice. And they do it all knowing that heartbreak is always a possibility, but so is glory. The road ahead, questions without easy answers. So where does this leave us? With more questions than answers, which feels appropriate for a team that specializes in uncertainty. When will Stolarz return? And more importantly, what version of him will come back? Will he rediscover the elite form that made him a valuable addition? Or will the combination of early struggles and extended absence leave him searching for confidence? Can Woll maintain this level of play without wearing down? And if he can't, what's the backup plan? These aren't hypothetical questions. They're the reality Toronto is living right now. Every game Woll starts is another test. Every day Stolarz remains off the ice is another reminder that this situation is far from resolved. And every point in the standings feels more precious because the margin for error keeps shrinking. The front office will be watching closely. The coaching staff will be managing workloads carefully, and the fan base will be holding its collective breath, hoping that somehow, some way, this team can find the stability it so desperately needs. Final thoughts. The test of endurance continues in the end. This story isn't just about Anthony Stolarz's injury or Joseph Woll's resurgence. It's about what it means to be invested in a team that tests your faith at every turn. It's about the emotional roller coaster of watching a franchise that can look unbeatable one night and vulnerable the next. It's about the reality that in Toronto, nothing comes easy, not wins, not stability, and certainly not peace of mind. But here's the thing about Leafs Nation. They wouldn't have it any other way, because the highs feel higher when you've lived through the lows. The victories feel sweeter when you've tasted the bitterness of defeat. And the belief feels stronger when it's been tested and survived. This team will keep fighting. Woll will keep making saves. Stolarz will eventually return. And the fan base will keep showing up, keep believing, keep living and dying with every shift. Because that's what being a Leafs fan means. Enduring the darkness, trusting that light is coming and never, ever walking away. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, Leafs Nation. Are you confident Woll can carry this team until Stolarz returns? What's your biggest concern about the goaltending situation? And most importantly, are you still believing? Smash that like button and let's keep this conversation going because we're all in this together, riding every wave this season throws at us.